Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. I want to give all praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakahakodash. I want to give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well, to the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, the elect, Shalom, to the Israelite foreigners, whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold, Shalom, to your sisters, your Akhwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Ram Yahawada with the lesson. And you can see this is a Wall Street Journal. It says exclusive artificial intelligence, right? Softbank, right? So I believe that's like when they're trying to introduce something. So they're going to try to slowly, right? Which the apostles told us this is, predictive programming, right? It's a thing where they slow roll it out, then get you a little taste, and it's like basically putting your foot in the pool, Sometimes, for whatever reason, some people don't like to just jump right in, right, head first, so to speak, into some things. You like to keep putting your foot in, if it's a little cold at first, but longer you leave your leg in, your foot in, and the deeper you go, you're gearing your body to prepare to be emerged into the water. But that's what they're doing. They're gonna emerge you under these things, give you sort of a baptism, so to speak, right, into some things that you don't you don't want to necessarily be involved with. But it'll merge society so far in. Hey, some people they won't be able to get out. That's why they said they want to open the AIs and open AI's 5 million or 5 billion AI project, right? Yeah, struggles to get off ground, right? See, right. See, and that's ultimately what that is. But if they do it softly, if they do it, a gradual thing, people are willing to be involved, right? Oh, there it is. Yeah, exactly. Here it is right here. The Stargate venture introduced at the White House event is now setting the most modest goal of building a small data center by year end. See, yeah, gradualism, right? And we know the MOTB is the micro CHIP. I mean, common sense, right? I mean, this is what you have to, with currency you buy and you sell with currency. If they're changing the currency digitally, how can you buy and sell spiritually? Which some of these camps say that the MOTB is a spiritual thing. Well, if they're changing their currency and they're in rulership, Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. If Esau's ruling at the end and Esau changes his currency, his exchange is digital, how can you exchange goods for something spiritual? I mean, hey. Yeah, so this is it says a $5 billion effort unveiled at the White House to supercharge the US artificial intelligence ambitions has struggled, right, to get off the ground and has sharply scaled back its near-term plans, right, 6 months after Japanese billionaire Shin, Shitoshi Toshi Son stood shoulder to shoulder with Sam Altman and President Trump to announce the Stargate project, newly formed company charged with making it right with making it right, which they basically was saying that they haven't they're making this thing, but they haven't struck a deal yet with it. But they're basically forming a company or a data center, and they have not yet struck a deal yet for this data center. But I mean, they already have it in them. They already have it in their mind. This is just what they're saying. So this is just a soft, like what they're saying, way to bring it in, because it has to be a you know, it has to get accepted for a lot of people first. And predictive programming or gradualism is a great way to do it, right? Yeah, so this is MSN, basically saying the same thing, but SoftBank opening AI, saying that they got Trump and all these people. I don't know why they blurred out this stuff right here. Probably their little hand gestures, showing off those Illuminati hand gestures, right? Um, yeah, basically saying the same thing with that. Okay, this is gonna finish off what we were reading earlier. Okay, this is the newly formed company charged with making it happen has not has yet to complete a single deal for a data center, right? It says Sun's SoftBank and Altman's OpenAI with jointly led Stargate have been at odds over crucial terms of the partnership, including where to build the centers, according to the people familiar with the matter, right? Right, familiar spirits, right? All right, China's AI robots programming fast. Focus turns to robots, huh? Yeah, see, and that's what it says. But that's something else. It's like it says while the companies pledged, right, and when you go into scripture, it talks about making a pledge, a plague, which is basically debt, But at the January announcement to invest $100 billion, immediately the program is now setting the most modest goals, right? Which we read that earlier, but they wording this thing different a little bit, of building a small data center by the end of this year, likely in Ohio. The people said, "What people? What? What the people? The people said, right? Stargate's lethargic launch is a setback to the vast ambitions of Sun, who, despite spending billions of dollars over the years, over the years, has played catch up in the fast evolving AI sector, right? So a soft bank com- committed thousand three 30 billion to open AI earlier this year. So they're just throwing money at this, bro. 500 billion, 100 billion, 30 billion, they're just throwing money at this. So basically, this ain't gonna go away because some nigga in the t-shirt fringes said that the MOTB is spiritual. This ain't gonna go away, obviously, right? Earlier this year, it is by far the largest ever startup investment. It's the largest startup investment in an enormous wager that has led SoftBank to take one new debt and sell assets, or debit, sell an asset, or right, can't buy or sell unless you have that mark. Sell assets. The investment was made alongside plans for Stargate, giving SoftBank a role in the physical infrastructure needed for AI. Physical, right? Right? Because when you're dealing with these Edomites in this system, it is physical. This is Ephesians 6:11. Put on the whole armor of the power, the Most High Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwadash, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. The devil is who? Esau. Esau is the physical counterpart of Satan upon the earth, right? And we do have the spiritual demon Satan, which will put things in your mind, make you feel afraid, or He'll make you feel unequipped, you know, thoughts that make you feel like you're not enough. How could you ever possibly do this and do that? You know, that's a spiritual battle within itself. But we know, though this is spiritual, because people will take this thing, right, like this. It says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities," right? And they will take that and link that up with that the MOTB is spiritual. See there, brother, we wrestle not against flesh and blood. See, it's spiritual, but you got to pay attention, bro. That's why the Lord said, put on the whole armor, right? You have to. Hey, listen, against principalities and against powers and against rulers, right? That's not spiritual. Now we're talking. Now we're finna go into the physical. Though this is a spiritual battle. There are physical counterparts to the spiritual demon Satan upon the earth. And it says rulers of darkness of this world, right? And the world or the earth was given into the hands of the wicked. That is physical, bro. Right? And they have a physical carnal mentality. Right? They used to brand the slaves to show a physical mark of who it is. Even to this very day, when you go into branding, it usually deals with cattle, right? And cattle or horses, animals in itself, are known as beast. So if you gave a mark to the beast, and these people are calling you goyim, which to them you're just a beast, you're just an animal, you're nothing, you're just a goyim, you're a beast, right? And modern technology, right, is advancing, as you read, it says fastly advancing. So now they look at data centers for banking, which is going to hold all this data. Banks normally just have what? Well, as far as what we what we used to, when it used to be, just had a vault, and they have the money in the vault, and they'll come out, hand you money. But a bank ain't gonna have to do that anymore. Technically, you would never have to really go to the bank. You can go to the bank on your phone, which that's what a lot of people are doing now. They're banking on their phone. Hey, So, yeah. Darkness of this world and against spiritual wickedness in high places. Why? Because they pray to Satan, man. They're always constantly praying to Satan, right? They're always trying to put an enchantment, right, against the nation of Israel. So you have to know the difference between it being spiritual and physical, bro. It says, wherefore take unto you the whole armor, which is spiritual, but it's also dealing with your mental faculties, man. You have to be sharp. You can't just let someone just come up and tell you any goddamn thing, man, without taking good heed, right? Which that's mostly what this is about. The whole armor of the Most High power, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai Bashem Kakadash, that ye may be able to withstand the evil day. And what's the evil day? The hour of temptation, man. Having done all to stand. Yes, this is Revelation chapter 3, verse 10. It says, because thus has kept the word of my patient. Right? And what did the Lord say the word is? The word is spiritual, right? And the word quickeneth, and it giveth life, right? When it's giving life, you have to have understanding and what's spiritual and then what's physical, right? Those rulers are physical. The rulers of this world are physical, but they're spiritual wickedness in dark places, right? So you have the physical counterpart of Satan on this earth. So you have to keep the words, right? Understanding. Word of my patience, I also will keep thee. See? And when you start getting that correct understanding, the Lord said, I will keep you from the hour of temptation. Yeah? And that's the time that's fastly approaching with the MOTB being the micro hip, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell on the earth, right? And it's going to be no greater test than to try you than to see, hey, if you go a couple of days without eating, are you going to rely on the Lord for your provision? And when you pray, you know how prayers work, bro. They don't come right away. In the kingdom, they will. The Lord said before we finish praying, your prayer will be answered. But in this world, because of so much evil, your prayers take some time to get to you now. Now the faith factor comes in, right? So then you have to be faith-based Israelites, right? Yeah. So behold, which means feast your eyes, look, pay attention. I come quickly. Hey, the Lord is coming to judge, bro. Hold fast that which thus has, right, your understanding. You're gonna have to hold on to the understanding that thus has, that no man take thy crown, right? No silly Jake or anybody, right, for that matter, will tell you that the MOTB is spiritual in this world where the wicked is in rulership, and the wicked does not believe in God. I mean, he knows there's a God somewhat, but his thing is he's God. His thing is there's something, but the scripture said the wicked should not understand. He don't really understand, right? Nor do he really believe. It's impossible for him to believe in the power like that. But you being spiritual, so or at least you're supposed to be, it's your job to be spiritual, but be mindful, right? That no man take your crown. That's a physical person, right? A physical person will come up and tell you, hey, this and that, this and that. Kind of like what happened to Eve. A physical person, right? With his uh, snake, slick, cunning uh, um, personality. I don't know if you say that, you know, so to speak. You know, hey, he beguiled her. He you know, put one over your mind. Took a thing that was spiritual, because they didn't know they were naked. They didn't know that they were in a thing until what? This physical man said something, and had them doing something contrary to the spiritual ordinance, which made a physical death. Which that's what I'm saying. So your spiritual actions are going to make a physical death or physical um, problems. Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my power, the Most High, right? And he shall go, right, which is Yahweh, right? And he shall go no more out, right? And we ain't finna go into slavery anymore, right? And I will write upon him the name of my power, the Most High, Yahweh, right? A kainos, right? A refreshing, and the name of the city of my power, which is New Jerusalem, right? See, it didn't happen. different name, Yerushalayim, but it's going to be a kainos, a refreshing, come down out of heaven from my power, right? And I will write upon him my new name, which is a kainos, a refreshing, which is Yahweh Shai, right? And that coming down from heaven, it's out of the chariots. So this spiritual thing is going to save us from a physical death, right? Which is ICBM missiles. Yeah, so this is Revelation chapter 13, verse 15. And he had power to give life, right? Right, he's going to give life to the image of the beast, right? He's going to give life to it. And that the image of the beast should both speak. So it's going to have life and it's going to speak, right? So how is it going to be that way? Through AI, through this artificial intelligence, right? Through that Stargate, right? Right? Through what is it? Through the Palantir, through Skynet, through this, basically through the Stargate thing. It's all going to speak. It's all going to be militarized. It's all connected. The bank, the militarized surveillance that they're going to have upon you, pretty much like they have in Israel, right? The Hapsur, right? And it says right. So that's how the AI is gonna speak, right? Because you got even certain movies, like Demolition Man, when Sylvester Stallone came out of the cryogenics and he was doing a bunch of so-called cuss words. It was giving him penal codes and giving him a ticket saying that he violated the laws of the land through the AI because it can hear, right? And when it heard him, it gave him the ticket, which they're talking about putting AI as police and robots in your neighborhood anyway, right? Kind of like, what's similar to that, like you go to was it Total Recall, and there was a Jake in there, and he was telling them, the guy, he said, but I got kids, and he was speaking about the taxi, and there was a robot taxi, and here we are, fast forward to here we are this day, and you actually have these Waymo that's just it's basically just a robot that drives around, but it's still a taxi. It don't have kids, it don't have to pay bills, but you as a living, breathing person, they still intend on you paying bills while they're phasing you out of everything to make money, right? Which is basically gearing people up to put them on the universal basic income, right? Those who survive, because they plan on killing majority of people anyway, right? Because this is what it says, and right, the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be what? Killed. And that's showing you that
Israel's military commanders say its relentless airstrikes in Gaza has hit more than 22,000 targets since October the 7th. That is an average of 300 bombs being dropped every day. In the last few days, more details have come to light about the central role AI is playing in selecting targets, and with it, an increasing focus on whether that's part of the reason why civilian death toll in Gaza is so high. This is the bare detail we know from the Israeli military. Is a unit called the Target Administration Division, formed in 2019. In a short statement on the website, It says it uses an AI-based system called Habsora, the gospel in English, in the war against Hamas to, quote, produce targets at a fast pace. Well, a group of investigative journalists have looked deeper at how it works, speaking to anonymous Israeli officials. And today's prospective guest is Yuval Abraham, a journalist at the Israeli-Palestinian publication Plus 792 magazine. First of all, Yuval, good to talk to you. Tell us what you found out about the gospel. How does it work?
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. So the gospel is essentially, according to sources, a target machine. It automates most of the target creation process, creating targets with life and death consequences, as you said, at a rate that was before humanly impossible. Now, what it does is that it analyzes an amount of information that is so big that in the past, thousands of humans could not even process. You know, Gaza is under Israeli occupation. Israel controls it, the airspace, the electromagnetic space, the land, and it has a lot of access to intelligence that way. It has an intelligence chokehold. Now, sources that I've spoken to that have operated the gospel and have served in that center said that the emphasis was being placed on the quantity of targets, not on the quality of targets. They said the use of artificial intelligence is being an increasing trend in the military because in the past, the military ran out of targets in 2014 and in 2021. And this is viewed inside the military, according to sources, as a need to simultaneously be able to strike as many targets as possible, regardless of the particular military value of each target, in order to create a certain shock effect, according to sources, that places often civilian pressure on Hamas.
It's interesting you mentioned.
Yeah, see, and you should be killed, right? Because it's part of the whole infrastructure, part of everything. And pretty soon that thing will be connected to that Stargate. It will be connected to Starlink. It'll be connected to all this whole thing. The Golden Dome that he wants to, which is basically the same thing. Is that the Hapsura, right? That Trump wants to build here in America. It's all going to be interconnected, whether you accept it, believe it or not. Those are physical things. That's not spiritual. Right? And he calls us all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark, right? Karagma, Graffle, right? Which is going to be, it just said it's going to be a bank, soft banking, or softbank. I don't know if that's the name of it, the bank. But this banking is going to be linked to the Stargate, which is off a data center that's going to have a lot of information. Pretty much the same way that Hapsura, right, which they call their gospel, which is militarized targets in a vast amount of time with all this data information. So how much more once everything is all linked together, once it's you know, it's going to be, it's basically the new way to govern, right? They're going to not need the police or this or that. They're going to govern everything through AI, right? Your banking, everything. This is how you're going to buy and sell. It's common sense, right? Free and poor, free. Yeah, I mean, both small and great, free, poor. Yeah, small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, right? It says, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Yeah, so this is Revelation chapter 13, verse 16. Go into this transliteration. Go to Mark, which is Karagma. And I just want to, because like I said, it's normally something to do with branding. And it says the mark branded upon horses, see, animals. So it's a thing that they used to do in animals. And then if you know anything about that industry with cattle and different things, people have moved on to new ways to brand their cattle. Instead of spending tons and tons of hours, and you have to spend tons and tons of money to pay cowboys to wrangle and grab them and literally put the hot iron to the back of their hide, which eventually skin grows over it, right? And then you have to rebrand them again with the same brand with the hot iron. Why not? Why cut out all the cost and all the time and put a device, right, that tells you everything about who this animal is and what this animal is meant for and who it belongs to, right? Which is the same thing they're going to do to you. That's what they call you, goyim, right? Which makes sense, right? Yeah, the idolatrous thing to that is what is basically you're going to be worshiping Esau by taking that, right? And then the Karax, right, which is the delivery system.
Strong's G 5482, Karax.
Yeah, Karax, right, which is the delivery system, right? So pointed to a sharp to a point, pale, palisade, right? Which these are, I know the palisade. Like I said, it makes me remind me of the white picket fence type of thing, because that's kind of like what it's going to represent for a lot of you people, because this is basically the needle, right? The needle, right? The delivery system, but a palisade in itself is like a fence. See, the only thing that's spiritual about this is a spiritual understanding, like the concepts behind some of these things, right? Because physically, at one point in time, they put up palisades to block us in Jerusalem in 70 AD, so we couldn't get out. But this time, the palisades are going to be these needles putting the charagma, right, the mark, through the Karax, right, the delivery system, which is going to have grapho.
Strong's G 1125, grapho,
right, still is part of this. I liked. Yeah, and to commit to writing things not to be forgotten, written down records. See, and that's ultimately what it's going to have. It's going to be records. What is the other one I liked? Yeah, information, directions, right? It's gonna have all of your life on that. Banking information, dental, whether you've been arrested or not, tickets, everything, whatever you have, all your information is going to be on that. It's going to be written within that. Things that are not that are things not to be forgotten, right? Right, your identity, which is it makes sense that the Lord, because that thing was something with Japan and Ammon and Moab has been doing a lot of helping Esau, right? So woe unto Babylon, right? Daughter of Babylon, which is America, and Asia, right? So
the goddamn a lot of this AI system comes from Moab, from China and Asia. This banking system, this all these different things coming from Moab and Ammon, right? Because that's what they're trying to model their society at, like Moab, and woe to unto Egypt and Syria, right? And the Lord is about to judge these people for their doings, creating this AI system and linking it with Esau, Yeah. Jeremiah chapter 41, verse 2, then arose Ishmael, the son of Nathaniah, and the 10 men that were with him, that smote Gedaliah, and the son of Ahikam, the son of Shaphan with the sword, and slew him, whom the king of Babylon had made governor over the land. Right, and we know that because it said, "Woe to Egypt and Syria," right? Which Egypt is meant to be Hamitic people there, but we know that those are Ishmaelites. Same thing with Syria. Those, I don't believe they're Hamites, but they're I believe it goes back to Aram, which are Shemites. They're Shem, which they come from Shem too. Ishmael does, but then you're Ishmaelites. You're not from Aram. You're not Aram. You're Ishmael, right? And Ishmael also slew all the Jews, right, which are the Israelites, that were with him, even with Gedaliah at Mishpah, and the Chaldeans that were found there, and the men of war, right? Let me skip down, because these nations all have something in common with keeping Israel down. And it says, then Ishmael carried away captive all the residue of the people, right, which is Israelites, that were in Mishpah, even the king's daughter, and all the people that remained in Mishpah, whom Nebuchadnezzar done, the captain of the guard, had committed to Gedaliah, the son of Ahikam, and Ishmael, the son of Nathaliah, carried away captives and departed to go over to the Ammonites, right? And I brought this out just because here it is, the Ammonites, which the Japanese are part of this this Stargate, part of this system, which they donated 100 billion one time, 30 billion another time, and then I guess they're saying it's going to be an overall $5 billion for this startup bank, which is going to deal with a lot of digital information, obviously, right? Yeah, so this is Jeremiah chapter 25, verse 17. Then took I the cup out of Yahweh's hand, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, you're right, you know what I'm saying, and made all the nations to drink unto whom Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai had sent me, right, to wit Jerusalem, right, which would be the northern kingdom, and the cities of Judah, right, which is the southern kingdom, right. We went into slavery, right. We had to drink of the cup, and the kings thereof, and the princes thereof, to make them a desolation. See, right, and that's what happened to us. We got scattered amongst all the nations, and we got put in subjection under them, and now that final blow, what they're trying to do is push the MOTB, which is the micro C-hip, right? A desolation and astonishment and a hissing and a curse, as it is this day, right? You're in the ghettos, the vadios, the reservations, as it is to this day. And now what their thing is to do is try to take advantage of that situation, right? Right? Pharaoh, king of Egypt, right? Which we know that the people who sent it there, Egyptians today, are really Ishmaelites or mingled people. They may be really Edomites or this or that, but we know that they're not the original people, the Hamites. But the Hamites are going to get theirs too. So I mean, they're not going to escape just because these people have put in their stead. But that's not going to change that you're not the Hamites, that you're not going to get the punishment of the Egyptians, because that's what you're pretending you're portraying yourself to be, which the Lord is going to put all you nations in subjection under the Israelites. Lord willing, I'll be part of that number, right? It says the Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and his servants and his princes and all his people. See, now you're going to go into subjection. See, yeah, we had our time, but the Lord is about to make a changing of places, man, right? But we know all this has to come into play as far as what you push in the MOTB and all the mingled people and all the kings of the land of Uz, right? And we know that's the Edomites, man, Uz. And all the kings of the land and the Philistines, right? The Africans, you know, and Ashkelon and Azah, Ekron, Ekron, and the residue of Ashdod, right? And the bastards should dwell in Ashdod, right? We know that you Edomites are over there in Ashdod now, right? Right? Which is Edom, right? See? Edom and Moab and the children of Ammon. See, somehow you're always involved with each other. So the Lord is going to set up where you are going to be punished, right? The Japanese and Moab always involved with all this with Edom, because there's a couple of times in the scriptures where it mentions Edom, Moab, and Ammon all together, because you guys are always conspiring together. And one of this thing of as of late is this the MOTB, right? It's this AI system. The robots and this and that, you're all a part of that, man, right? Yeah, this is Psalms 83. It says, a song or psalm of Aphes, keep not silence, O power, Most High Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, hold not thy peace, be not still, O power, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, Bashem Kadash, for lo, which means to look, thy enemies made a tumult. And that's what they're doing. They're making a great noise by putting 5 billion into this softbank AI system, right? It's going to be part of your banking system, right? Which we know that it's physical. That's not spiritual. That's not a spiritual banking system, right? Where they're going to have data, loads and loads of data, just like they were saying that Hopsur has loads of data, right? Which chooses their targets, right? And ultimate slaughter, right? Which that's what's coming. Judgment, lots of judgment and slaughter is coming to the world, right? And the Lord said He's starting at His house. So a lot of you Jakes that keep saying it's spiritual, hey, hey, the slaughter is not going to be spiritual. It's going to be very physical, because you're talking about a physical devil, man, and that the digital system is not spiritual. It's literally digital, right? Though it's an invisible number, so to speak, they have physical things to swipe and scan things, right? And they that hate thee have lifted up the head, right? And what that main head that they're lifting up now is going to be AI, right? Right? The democracy or technocracy is going to be lifted up. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, right? Against you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, right? Which you're not Mexican, you're not Puerto Rican, you're not Colombian, right? You're not Native American, you're not Black, you're not African American, you're not Jamaican or Haitian. You're the Israelites, man. Yeah, because you're that's what they try to hide you behind. You have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones, right? They hid you behind those names, and they have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Yasha, right? Because we hear the name Israel all the time. We're hearing it every day. Israel bombed Gaza. Israel bombed Gaza. Israel bombed Syria. Israel bombed, Iran, whatever, So, what name that you don't know? Yasha Allah. So, may be no more in remembrance, for they have consulted together with one consent. And that one consent, I mean, be not dismayed, right? Understand that all these heathens are with it, whether it's the digital ruble, the digital won, or was it yen, the digital stable coin. They're all about to go digital, and it's it's a very physical thing. It has nothing to do with spiritual. Where they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee, right? And that's a sin, to get something underneath your skin, right? Via through the Karax, right? The delivery system, which is going to have the grapho, right? Which is the information, which is the charagma, which is that mark, right? And the tabernacles of Edom, right? And we know that they're the main corporate, right? Because these are the the ones who basically have gotten the whole world by the sword, right? And the Ishmaelites, right? Because Ishmael, they were big in enslaving us too. They're the primary, between Edom and Ishmael is the main people who enslaved, especially when you deal with the Arab slave trade. That thing was very heavy, right? And that's kind of reason how Esau got his hands on this. And Esau went a step further than even the Ishmaelites. Ishmael, that thing was brutal too, cutting off people rods and all sorts of stuff so you can guard their women, doing all sorts of heinous stuff to us. Moab and the Hagarenes, right? Moab is still tagged with Babylon, right? Because they're helping them with the AI. They're helping them with their system. They're helping them with weapons. They, though they so-called beef, China and America is very, very close with a lot of trade, with a lot of different things that they're doing. especially with this new system that's coming in, this digital system, right? The robots and everything. Most of those robots and stuff come from China. What do you think? The little robot dogs that come from China. It's a Gabal, Ammon, right? Ammon, which is the Japanese, and we've seen it said Japan. I don't know. I don't remember exactly what it was saying. That was been a minute ago since I read it, but I think they said they put $100 billion up or something like that, or 30. I don't know if it was the 30 billion or the 100 billion, but basically they're involved with it. Japan and the Amalek, right? Which we know those are the international bankers, which are Esau. They're Edomites too. That's why it mentioned them first, but then it mentioned them because they're the overall banking families. They're the world banks. Amalek, right? The small hatters, and the Philistines, and all the inhabitants of Tyre and Ashur also joined with them. They have holpen the children of Lot, Salah, right? So yeah, and that the children of Lot is Moab and Ammon. So yeah, they're all intertwined with trying to keep Jake enslaved. Yeah, it says Amos chapter 1 verse 11. It says, "Thus saith Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakakadash, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword," right? That's the Israelites, you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. They're going to pursue you, which they're doing that through the ICE and all these different things, and they're gonna increase that, especially when it gets this system up, when they can do it like Israel's doing it, right? When they can use the data to learn how to attack you, to come after you, right? And that new sword is going to be AI, right? Right along with the money system, everything. It's all going to be interconnected, all digital, right? And with the digital thing, when they can send drones and shoot missiles and shoot guns off of drones, or use an actual robot to come and knock at your door to either bring you in or kill you, which they probably prefer to kill you, right? Because they don't got to spend any money to feed you, right? Because things is about to get brutal, right? So he pursue his brother with the sword and did cast off all pity, right? When they're flying planes over the ocean and dropping jakes in the ocean, when they're pushing you into the alligator Alcatraz, and that's all they ain't showing no pity to you, right? And that might be the pity to this guy. Well, I didn't throw him over the ocean. I just threw him in the alligator Alcatraz, right? And his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever, and that's what they're doing. And I shall send fire upon Teman, right? Edomites, right? Which Trump is a Temanite, right? German, which shall devour the places of Basra, right? Or where all the places you Edomites are at. So thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, for 3 transgressions of the children of Ammon. See, and Ammon, the Japanese are all involved with it. They're putting their money into it. They're ready to push that digital system, helping with the AIs, helping with the robots, right along with China. This is amen. And for 4, I will not turn away the punishment. See, and the Lord's going to punish you thereof, because they have ripped up the women with child in Galilee, and they made enlarge their borders, right? And you're not gonna escape from that, man. Gilead is mine. Manasseh is mine. See, you killed the children in Gilead, right? But the Lord said it's his. Gilead is mine. Manasseh is mine. Ephraim also is my is the strength is Ephraim also is strength of my head, and Judah is my lawgiver. Moab is my washpot. See, you're just going to be a washpot, Moab. And Edom will I cast out my shoe. I will cast out my shoe, right? Over the Philistine, the Philistine will I triumph, right? So that you Asia, right? Moab, Ammon, Edom, the Hamites, you're all finna go into slavery. Who will bring me into the strong city? Who will lead me into Edom, right? And that's all this is all about, right? Edom about to be that strong city, having that ultimate technology, the technocracy. Who's going to lead the Lord to this land, right? Will not thou, O power, who cast us off, will not thou, O power, go forth with our host, right? So, hey, is the Lord not going to come forth with the host, with the armies, with the angels? Yeah, it says who will get it. So this made me think. It says Isaiah 63. Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength, which is Yahweh Shai. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. And who is coming to save? He's coming to save the Israelites, man, starting with the elect, right? Wherefore art thus thou red in thine apparel, thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine fat. I have treaded the winepress alone, which is Yahweh Shai, and of the people there was none with me, for I will tread them in my anger, which is talking about all you nations, starting with Esau, and trample them under in my fury, right? And their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garment, and I will stain all my raiment. For the day of vengeance, right, is in my heart, right? La'ab is mine. He's meditating on it. And the year of my redeem, right? Because the Lord is not going to meet you as a man this time. This is Isaiah chapter 47, verse 3. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, right? It's talking about Esau, Edom. Yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, right? The Lord is taking vengeance on Esau, Edom, and all these nations. And I will not meet thee as a man. See, when the Lord comes back, he's not coming to meet you as a man. For as for our Redeemer, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakal Kadash, of hosts is his name, the Holy One of what? Of Israel. He's coming back to save Israel. Stay what? sit thus silent and get into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, right? It's America, the daughter of Babylon. You're gonna be punished, right? Babylon, Chaldeans, for the for thou shall no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms, right? You're gonna have all that, you know. They lifted up the head. You're going to have that power. Who's going to take me to that powerful city? Who's going to take me to that strong city? And you're not going to be a strong city anymore. Right? So this is Jeremiah chapter 9, verse 25. Behold, which means feast your eyes, look, pay attention. The days come, saith Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, I will punish all them which are circumcised with the uncircumcised. So, wait, a lot of you keep playing a game. Sent the MOTB is spiritual, and you don't think it's the micro C hip. So a lot of you're gonna get it because what's telling you not to get it? There's nothing. Oh, you don't have to worry. The MOTB is spiritual. It's when you put your hands to it, which ultimately that's what you're doing, right? You're gonna put out your hand, and you're gonna get the karagma, right? Karax is gonna be the delivery system. Grapho is gonna have all your information, things that are not to be forgotten. Hey, and there you go. You put forth your hand to iniquity, right? See, and it says Egypt, right? Which we know that Egypt is mostly Hamite, so Ham, you're gonna get it, and then we know that right now those people who's in Egypt are really Ishmael. So Ishmael, you're gonna get the punishment, man. You're gonna get punished, right? Judah, right? Which is really, this is gonna represent all 12 tribes that's here in America, Babylon the Great. So you're gonna get a punishment, right? Because you ain't listening. Started with the so-called African American, right? Because that's why I said the whole head is sick, right? Starting with Judah, right? A lot of you're hey, you're talking about the MOTB is spiritual. A lot of you gonna get it, and 2/3 have to go anyway, right? 2/3 of you all said let the Lord's blood be upon you and your children. So hey, a lot of you got to go anyway, and Edom, right, the self-proclaimed so-called white man, and the children of Ammon, right? See, because Ammon's helping them with this digital system, right? And Moab is definitely helping them with the digital system because that's what they're modeling their thing after China, after the, what is it called? Social credit scores and all these different things, and how to use AI to just govern people, to keep them so they can't say anything. If they say anything even on the internet, they're coming to arrest you, right? Or they'll dock you your pay or whatever they do. They'll mark you down. So now you can't afford to go places or whatever. However that system goes, where you can't get on planes or trains or buses because you don't got enough credit score, social credit score to do any damn thing, right? Or they might just shut it off and they drop dead or something. Who knows how they're gonna actually really do it, man? Because hey, it's gonna get brutal, right? They're gonna use that system to their ability to be at all places at one time, knowing all things at one time, being able to shut it off or shut it on at any time they want to. Hey, man, that's that power. That's Esau. He loves that. He wants to be God, and all that are in the uttermost corners, right? That dwell in the wilderness. For all these nations are uncircumcised, and all the house of Israel are uncircumcised in heart, right? Your mind ain't right, right? So you ain't got the mental fortitude to have on the whole armor of the Most High, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and to know that the MOTB is not spiritual, it's physical. And they're about to put a whole database behind something that is physical and not spiritual. So call Elohim Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Rakah HaKodash, Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect. The elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom. To sisters, you Achwathim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. And a Baba Ball, Kwame Yasharallah.